Hi people, Daniel from Devon Sons Guitars here, and today we're talking about pickup height, one of the most important things of your setup that's always forgotten. Now you may be here because you want a general overview of why pickup heights is important, and I am going to cover that, but specifically I'm looking at this, a Hofner Violin Bass. But the principle is the same with any guitar or bass. What's interesting though is although this is a 2012 model, it's based on the original 62 version, and what it's got on it is a very simple way of adjusting the pickup heights. Not as advanced as what we're used to seeing now, but well worth looking at if you're interested in that type of thing. So let's get down to the bench and have a look at it. So here I've got the pickup out of this pickup surround from the Hofner Violin style bass. I haven't cleaned this pickup because I've just done a relic job on the bass. So I'm leaving it as it was, quite well used. If you want to see the relic video, I'm going to be putting up a series about that. But this is a focus on how we adjust the height of this pickup. Now, if you've seen my setup videos before, you'll know that I think the pickup height adjustment is something that is really important and people often forget about when setting up the guitar. In fact, this bass came in having been professionally set up by a guitar shop, and they had left the two pickups at different heights. Now what's important is you need your pickups to balance with each other so that the output from one pickup is the same loudness as the output from the other pickup. So when you switch between pickups or blend them together, your overall guitar sound doesn't fluctuate. You want your pickups volumes to be more or less equal on both. You also want, as the strings go over here, 4 strings on the bass, you want an equal volume on each string. And that might mean that when your guitar pickup's in the body, your actual pickup has to angle slightly. So maybe this is closer to one of the strings than this one is because the output needs to be different. For example, most people will probably play their bass strings louder on a bass, and also maybe on your bass string, because it's thicker, it's got a louder output, louder sound anyway. So you might want to back it off a bit from the string so that the output sounds very similar to the top string. Now, this may not be the case. It may be the way you play with your top strings, pulling them and popping them in a much louder way when you're playing your guitar. Maybe there is a difference. So you want to adjust your pickup to get it equal. I used to find when I played bass a lot that I wanted my top strings to sound slightly louder than my lower strings to help them cut through the mix. It might also be that you want one pickup louder than another. Perhaps you switch to one pickup or turn one pickup on, volume up in this case on the Hofner bass. You turn it up because you want that pickup to sound louder when you're using it in a particular song, for example. So you might not have them equally balanced, but the most important thing is you want control. You want to know what's happening. Now here we can see on the pickup surround, the way it works is it's got 2 screws that screw onto the Hofner bass itself, onto the violin bass. And in the middle of the pickup surround, on the body of the guitar itself, is a hole that the wire from the pickup just threads through. Nice and easy. I mean, it's so basic, this pickup surround, it's brilliant. So you can also see that the pickup has a curve to it, and that curve allows it to sit on the guitar, on the bass, without wobbling, because if it was flat, because the guitar body is arched, this would wobble. So the curve matches it. And you can also see that the bridge and the neck surround are different heights. And that's because at the back, once the bridge is on, I haven't got the bridge back on. I've actually got another video about putting your strings on and the importance of the position of this bridge. But once the bridge is on, the strings at the back are going to be further away from the body than they are at the front when they hit the neck itself. It's got these screws on each side, and they're what hold the pickup in place. On modern guitar pickups, you normally expect something else to hold them in place. For example, something might stick out the side here that allows you to put a screw through, so you're exactly changing the height of the pickup or screwing the pickup in place because it's attached through the pickup itself. Here, the only thing that holds the pickup in place are these screws on each side. So the screws on each side, as you tighten them, will stop the pickup moving. And that's how you're going to adjust the height. You're going to get to the right height, tighten these screws, and it will hold it in place. Now, because you're putting pressure coming in from the screws onto the pickup itself, it can apply pressure to the outside of the pickup, and it's quite common for these surrounds, as you can see here, to snap. But like I said, this is a relic finish that naturally happened when my client was using it, so therefore we're going to keep it as it is. So let me just show you these screws. Like all the screws on the Hofner bass, the violin bass, have a flat head. Most modern guitars tend to have a cross thread on the screws. But I like the vintage element of this. You can see just there where the screw comes through on the inside. So if I turn the screw all the way in, you can see that it starts to stick out there. And it's where it's sticking out that it's going to be applying pressure to the pickup. Now I don't need it out. Right, so sorry to interrupt the video, but just to let you know that I'm not supported by anyone. So if you're enjoying this video, I would really appreciate it if you'd consider tipping me a cup of tea. You can tip me a tea on my Ko-Fi page, links below. Every little helps because I spend a lot of time making and editing these videos. And I've recently given up my job teaching art to focus on making my guitars and making these videos. So every bit of support helps. You could also, as well as tipping a tea, buy a tea. I sell t-shirts like this on my website. And you know, all the normal liking and subscribing is brilliant as well. Leaving comments in these videos is fantastic. I love interacting with people. And sometimes the conversations we have make the whole making a video process worthwhile. I'm also on other social medias, so you can check me out there. And if you're able to, please do share this with someone else. Sharing is caring. Anyway, let's get back down to the video. So here we can see the pickup height. The gap between the pickup and the string is quite big on both sides. What we want to do is get it as high as we can, so we've got really strong output, but we don't want it to distort, and we don't want it so that when we're playing, the strings are catching on the pickup. So it needs to have a little bit of give, so a little bit lower than the neck height here. I'm not talking about the fret height, I'm talking about the neck height. A little bit lower than the neck height. And then, as I said, we're going to adjust to make sure the output is the same at the front and the back and between the two. This is quite hard to film with the tripod where it is, but here we can see the pickup's loose, so I'm going to lower it to about that position. So I think that is when I play, that's not going to hit the pickup. I'm assuming when my client plays, it'll be the same. But if you're doing this yourself, that's ideal. And then I'm just going to tighten these screws a little bit on both sides. Try and keep this in position while I do that. There we go. That feels nice and tight now. And look, I can see when I'm pushing down on my string, it's touching the fret. It's coming across to where the bridge is, but it's not touching my pickup. Ooh, let's listen to this again. So I think the output on both sides there is about right. So they're a bit tricky to pull up, but I've loosened the screws and had to put the guitar around the other way really to get them up. Now, let's lower it down a bit. So I think at that height, I'm not going to be touching the pickup when I play, but let's just see how this pickup compares to that pickup. Now I'm going to start just with this one and then swap. And then the same with it. I think at that height as well, they're more or less the same output. So that's perfect. So I can screw this one in place. So I'll start screwing on one side so that I can feel it making contact with the pickup. And I can screw the opposite screw. And now between them, they're applying pressure to the pickup. Great people, thank you for watching. I do appreciate all your support. Let me know if you've got a Hofner bass and if you love it, and has this video helped you change your pickup height? If you're here and you play a different instrument, don't worry. I also have videos on different types of pickups, different types of instruments. In fact, why don't you check out this playlist here about setting up guitars? It's applicable to basses too. And until next time, happy strumming.